With the rise of popular YouTuber Solid JJ, knockoffs were bound to come, and as much as I think that RG33 started out as a Solid JJ clone, their videos are genuinely funny, and over time they developed their own style and comedy, to the point where they're now one of my favourite YouTube channels on the platform. So today I'll be doing what I've done with most other internet series in the past, and power scaling them, so that you know just how powerful these characters are. Say, if you wanted to put homophobic Power or their own version of Gojo in the fight against their canon counterparts, who would come out on top? If you're going to enjoy this video, make sure to like, subscribe, make sure to check out the playlist in the top right where I discuss other internet characters, memes and YouTubers, and where they scale. And let's get on with power scaling RG33. But before that, massive shout out to Skirtreadavert. I have no clue if I'm pronouncing that name correctly, but look at the name on the screen, please. But there was a recent thumbnail competition within our Discord server. The link to that is in the description below, and the winner of the thumbnail competition gets to get their thumbnail displayed in this video. So here it is. It was supposed to be shown in the last video, but I kind of forgot. Sorry about that, but you know, it's here now. If you want to get involved with more server competitions like this, make sure to join with the link in the description. And once again, massive congratulations to the person who I don't really know how to pronounce the name of. As simple as this topic sounds, there are a few things we need to discuss before going into detail with this. The first is that there are videos no longer on their channel available to the public. I will not be taking these into account because I cannot go back and rewatch them for obvious reasons. Another point, which is far more complex, is if these characters should be as strong as their canon counterparts. Now, normally you could argue this would fall under an association fallacy where just because it emulates something else does not inherently mean it's that thing exactly. However, there is some evidence to suggest that their canon counterparts are good places to start with when talking about scaling for a few reasons. Many of these characters' goals and ideals carry over, along with almost all of their backstories. For example, Shinobu's sister's dead, the situation with Aki and Denji's family, and most of their abilities travel across too as well. As shown with the Angel Devil having the power to take away lifespans by touching him, Tengen and Rengoku have shown to have their respective breathing styles, and Gojo outright just uses blue. Not to mention that if you start with a few of their videos, it's outright stated to be 100% canon. While obviously they have no bearing on what is or isn't canon within the actual series that these characters are from, you can make this argument to then say the creators are using these characters as to emulate the exact same versions of their canon counterparts, minus the additions that they have to their characters. There's also the fact that they've outright shown scenes of actual Chainsaw Man in videos along with dubbing the official manga, so yeah, there is arguments to say that they should scale to their actual canon selves, and there is much more evidence besides this, but there's not much point to, you know, going on this specific point much further. This is all well and good, but RG33 do cover a lot of series. Out of the listed videos, they've covered One Piece, Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, Devil May Cry, Metal Gear, Scott Pilgrim, Mob Psycho 100, Kaguya-sama Love is War, Spy X Family, Yakuza, Death Note, and Cyberpunk Edgerunners. With some other series which do show up in other videos, such as Walter White showing up in the Mob video, and Tengen and Rengoku having an actual Pokemon battle. The main issue here is that I've only scaled like 5 of these series, with 3 of them being one of the more popular ones in the channel, so it means I don't really have much of a way of telling you how strong they are as a baseline, especially since I haven't scaled One Piece or Devil May Cry, which are generally considered the strongest out of the series here. I have scaled Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, Chainsaw Man and Pokemon before, however, so if you want to check out my Gojo, Makima, Ash Ketchum or general Demon Slayer videos, you can to get your thoughts on that. I know it's annoying to just refer to you like another set of videos just to understand this one to the fullest extent, but it's simply going to be way too long to include every single scaling chain for each series, especially since there's a reason why each video is as long as they are, and this video is going to be way too long to include all of that to go in depth. One last thing to note is that there's an argument that can be made that each series covered within the channel all exists within one universe. This is due to the fact that Tengen and Rengoku show up in front of Gojo and Geto, alongside Dante and Virgil with the Falling Devil. Sanemi punching Kobeni as well, Fami picking up Rengoku in her car, and Dante references Jetstream Sam, and Kiryu and Denji both sing together. You can argue that Mob Psycho also exists within this bubble of series within this one universe, due to Himino referencing how a wanted criminal was once spotted during the restaurant which they were in, which is heavily implied to be the same restaurant that Walter White showed up, who also just so happens to be a wanted criminal. All of this to say that these characters should all arguably be relative to each other in terms of raw scaling. To start with the actual scaling, I'm going to get into some staples of RG33 humour. Firstly, the fourth wall is constantly broken, referencing their own production, manga, and adverts, and so on and so forth. The only thing here is that Denji and Power seem to have a greater ability to break the fourth wall than the rest of the characters in the series. This is due to Power being able to point out an ad break while Giyu, Rengoku, and Tengen cannot, along with outright confusing Ake on the topic. There's also an ability that many characters show here, which essentially is the ability to become a plushie or even animals on command. This would essentially grant each character the ability to manipulate their own biology to a pretty big extent. Even Virgil and Shoko show ways of manipulating their own hand to becoming big and yellow as well. There's also the fact that characters can emulate other people through their impressions, such as Anya becoming a dinosaur, and Denji becoming Joe Swanson in Muscle Man. Now, I know that these things happen as a form of comedy, but in universe there's nothing to suggest that they're literally not becoming these things. If you have Anya becoming a T-Rex and you outright have a scaling chain for that, T-Rexes are estimated to have generated up to 87,000 joules while running, which is enough to completely destroy walls, so you have a wall level feat right off the bat. Now, I'll go in depth with the series here, going through each one and saying what's notable with the abilities and feats that they show. I'll first start off with series that don't show up as much, but funnily enough, the most important scaling comes from Demon Slayer, Chainsaw Man, and Jujutsu Kaisen anyway, so I'll save that for last. Starting off, we have Ramona Flowers having some level of sound manipulation, being able to canonically censor herself with a bleep sound. Raiden and Jetstream Sam and Blade all break the fourth wall, with Jetstream Sam being able to remember what happens even after the world is reset through a save point. Reigen Arataka is able to cause this explosion. Dante and Virgil are able to dance for 10 hours straight, and Tatsuo Betsu, I think I'm pronouncing that right, is capable of coming back as a ghost, which the Devil May Cry cast can all see and talk to. And Yor also opens a door so hard it causes the wall to take serious damage. Now then, to start with the real shit, there's a few instances of characters having clairvoyance and knowledge of the future. For example, Tanjiro, Lloyd, and Ake knowing of the likes of Uno, Minecraft, and a mid-2020s PC, despite them existing in the past. This further brings into question how the likes of Tengen, Anya, and Power gain access to these items, which you could argue is through time travel since there's not much else of an explanation. Something else notable is that eating Burger King will give you food poisoning and make you explode. This is important because the likes of Makima, Gojo, Shoko, Power, and Reize have all eaten such things and have been completely fine, giving them resistances to these things. To focus on Chainsaw Man for a moment, there are some pretty impressive feats and abilities, such as if you even smell Power, you'll start bleeding internally, and Power believes that she can conquer human civilization. If you take this as Power believing that no weapon that humans have could pose a threat to her, then you could have her scale higher than nukes, and potentially the most powerful nuke ever created being the Tsar Bomba, which had a blast radius of 58 megatons of TNT, with the prototype being twice that. With this, you can argue that Power would be able to destroy cities to even mountains, although of course this line of scaling does involve a lot of assumptions being made, so you can argue it's not as potent. Anyways, Ake displays the ability to create YouTube titles and thumbnails which don't exist into reality. I'm not entirely sure what you would call this ability, but he sure does do it. Power also displays the ability to speed up her talking to an unnatural degree, implying minor time manipulation. However, if you think that she has the power to time travel due to having a modern PC, then obviously it's not that surprising. Makima and Fami display vehicular mastery, which we'll get back to later, and Makima seems to turn into Gus Fring the same way that Anya turns into a dinosaur. Himeno, while drunk, has shown the ability to emit light and can die and come back to life. And the Falling Devil emulates a feat where she's able to invert gravity as she does in canon. If you apply that this is the same feat as done in canon, where she reverts all of Earth's gravity, you can get the Falling Devil's attack potency being able to destroy multiple continents at once. Asa and Kishibe are shown able to survive their brain exploding, and the Grimace Shake, yes, really, shows up to bust through large walls just by walking into them, and drinking a Grimace Shake will make you explode. Power is also capable of transforming into Dr. Eggman, and shows having a multitude of weapons such as a crowbar, an explosive, a crossbow, and a gun. A crossbow can fire things at fastest at 272 miles per hour, and bullets on average are fired at 1,800 miles per hour. While this is impressive, sure, relative to their canonical counterparts and the feats we will later talk about, is actually really bad. Anyways, Denji shows foresight, knowing exactly where the QR code will appear in the video. Power shows being able to survive having her throat slit with no problems, and Power and Denji have shown the ability to survive falling down a mountain and then exploding. This feat is quite noteworthy because if you imply that they fell at terminal velocity, their durability would be upwards of 98,000 joules from the fall alone. But that isn't what's most interesting. You see, when they hit the water, they become real and explode. Now, I would disregard this as a stylistic choice rather than being super literal, but Power does show a feat of being able to exist outside of the computer the episode is being made on, which is absolutely insane. This would mean that she's capable of perceiving her own series as fiction, implying that she transcends not just her own series but the computer itself. This at lowest is a complex multiversal feat, but can likely scale up to high outer or boundless. Especially if you imply that Denji and Power surviving the real-life explosion would scale to this, with speed that's potentially irrelevant as it cannot be calculated at all. Another big feat from the Chainsaw Man videos is Kobeni with her car. She survives being hit with the car at full speed, which would put her durability upwards of 31,000 joules, but it can be much, much higher. You see, Fami is able to drive so fast that within 10 seconds, she takes the car up far into outer space, which would be calculated out to be 86 million miles per hour, or roughly 1/10 the speed of light. The kinetic energy that this car would have would be equal to 293 megs of TNT, or enough to destroy mountains just by driving into them, so it's wild that Kobeni can just survive this. However, you can go even further with this. Fami shows being able to drive the car into SpongeBob, and you see, fictional worlds within RG33 are viewed as their own universes, as we see within the Demon Slayer video where Sanemi, Mitsuri, Shinobu, and Obanai travel into a world within their movies that they go see. If you go with this interpretation, then Fami is driving Kobeni's car so fast that it can cross through to other dimensions with raw speed, which completely break the speed formula and give them measurable speed. There's even Fami driving into the editing software the episode is being made on as well, as another potential outer-versal irrelevant speed feat there. By being able to move beyond incalculable speeds, the kinetic energy would bare minimum exceed infinity, meaning that Kobeni took an attack which literally has infinite energy behind it, which is just insane. Keep in mind that this random car that Kobeni had is not anything that's really special or implied to be special, so you could argue that it should scale to other cars in the series. This would include Aki's car, which Power, Denji, and Aki are all capable of surviving a big car crash with, and Shoko's car, which can crash into a Burger King restaurant at least 18 times with no damage done to the building. This building would be able to take between mountain level attacks to universal to outright outer-versal attacks over and over again. If you take the low end here and stack the damage, the building here would be able to withstand at least 4.89 gigatons of TNT, but obviously that's still a low ball. The big thing here that's even more impressive is that Makima and Gojo are shown being able to completely destroy a Burger King, meaning that they would scale far higher than the car itself, which is just and Utahime is able to survive in the epicenter of Gojo's attack with just a scratch, meaning that she would scale too. Going on to some more minor Demon Slayer stuff, Rengoku can cause explosions, Shinobu and Giyu can survive being exploded themselves, Mitsuri can summon a piano, and Sanemi, Mitsuri, Shinobu, and Obanai can survive not one, but 2 atomic bombs. The bomb that Oppenheimer made can output the power of 25 kilotons of TNT, and the two of them being stacked on top of each other would make it go up to 50 kilotons of TNT. This is a good miscellaneous feat, however, the feat is even more impressive when you consider the fact that it was able to blast them back from the universe of the Barbie land to reality, implying that it was able to burst a hole through reality, which is just even more consistent with what we see with the cinema screen literally being damaged, meaning that Sanemi, Mitsuri, Obanai, and Shinobu are all capable of surviving an explosion so potent it can rip a hole in the universe. As some Jujutsu Kaisen stuff I have not yet covered, Yuji Itadori has the ability to make people more stupid and goofy just by being around him, which is even able to work on Megumi, Nobara, and Gojo, and eating a chicken fry is shown to be even more potent as it one-shots a cursed spirit. Now, before I wrap up, there's one more feat to talk about, with Virgil and Power canonically going off script. At lowest, this is advanced fourth wall breaking, and at best, you could interpret this as Power and Virgil being able to deny the abilities of the author themselves, which is even more consistent with Power being able to exist outside of the computer the episode is being made on. I'm going to go off script here for a moment because I totally hacked into RG33's YouTube page and found this legitimate video to just watch.
I scale above all concepts, dimensions, and fictional mediums. I solo Goku and all of your favorite series combined. No diff.
So yeah, if this doesn't show that gay Power solos, I don't know what will. So what have we learned? At lowest, characters could destroy walls, to towns, to mountains, to even multiple continents while moving at supersonic speeds. At a mid-end, characters could destroy or at least withstand a universe being destroyed on top of them, moving at relativistic speeds to the speed of light. At highest, their power can literally ignore the author and exist outside of the thing that creates their series, which they're supposed to be within, which is fucking mental. The mid-end alone would be enough to solo at least half of fictional characters that exist out there, and the higher end is basically essentially saying that gay Power would be able to beat 99% of fiction. So go figure. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment below your thoughts on this, and I'll see you all next time.